ReefDudes is sponsored by Brightwell Aquatics and Bulk Reef Supply.
Today we're checking out one of the most tried and true ATOs, the Tunze Osmolator. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. Now, the pump for my ATO died on the lagoon tank, and so I decided to pick up a Tunze Osmolator. Now these, I did have one years and years ago, and I don't know what happened to it. I got traded with the tank, and I've kind of missed it ever since. This is probably one of the most well-known, reliable ATOs, Tunze Osmolator. Tried and true, we have an optical sensor as well as a float switch. So you kind of have your dual layers of redundancy, as well as a timer that will shut itself off after about 10 minutes of runtime. We have our ATO line for filling in the tank. Got our controller, our magnets, and our pump. Now the Tunze is definitely known for its reliability. One of the cool things about this is the different kind of technologies, so that you have optical and float. Optical's your more accurate, more precise one, where you got the float valve is kind of like your backup plan. This one in theory stays above the water. And now you can mount them both right on the same little connector here, but the cool thing is, if you wanted, you had a really big sump or you needed to vary it, you have a second magnet option. So you could mount it separately remotely, or if your tank goes into feed mode and it kicks off the alarm, you could mount it on a separate sensor. That way it's just above where the water level goes. So that is a big feature. And you have an aquarium controller and you shut off your ATO anyways, and that's probably a nice easy solution as well. But it's nice to have those options, which is one of the things that makes this a great ATO. So super easy to assemble. Our float valve goes on the right. And then again, if you are using a separate sensor, that goes on the extra magnet. And our optical sensor is going to face down. Now this little bracket does slide up and down to a certain degree, and it kind of lets you pick how close the two sensors are together. I'm going to slide mine down just to give that little more variation for when in feed mode. And if it does trip it, I might even just put it on a different bracket just for a good measure. Now we also do have a little kind of protective cover. Looking at the front of this one, it doesn't look like it quite clips in. It only would clip in on one side, which kind of works, but this one's mainly meant to go onto the secondary magnet. Now another couple cool things with this guy is, one, the wires are not attached on purpose because this allows you to slide it through your ATO bin, little holes inside the container. You just squeeze it inside them, so super easy. But this also allows you to use different accessories. So if you wanted to hook it up to an RODI system, you could hook this up to a solenoid rather than a pump, and Tunze does sell an accessory for it. Or if you had like a monster tank and you needed a different pump, they also have an adapter that will plug into an outlet socket. So you can plug in any type of AC pump to it. So you could, it could be anything from a dosing pump up to like a big massa pump. So it does become a very flexible kind of ATO. So yeah, super duper easy install. So yeah, let's get it plugged into the tank. Now my opinion about the only thing missing from this, from being a perfect little package, is a siphon break. So I'm actually going to use the one from my old ATO. If you don't have one, it's really easy to make one. Just basically take a little RODI fitting and poke a little hole in it and put that in the middle of your connection. So I just use a little chunk of old hose as an adapter, and then again my RODI line will plug into here. We add our pump to the back of the tank, connect our wires, plug it in, and we're done. So if I raise my pump up a little bit, and I see pump on, detects it, and it fills. Now there are a few more hidden settings, and to do that we have to open the cover. So there's two screws, which will quickly pop open. And inside we're gonna see, on the left hand side we got a jumper. So there's three different modes. You can have, if it's completely off, there is no alarm. So the alarm's completely disabled. If it's at the topmost setting, which is where I have it, the alarm will only go off if it's been 10 minutes and the float valve is triggered. And then on the lower setting, it will only get triggered if it's been, or if the float valve gets triggered. Now I put it on the one for 10 minutes and the float valve, just so it doesn't get kicked off in feed mode. Now over here we also have a little dial. Now if you bring it all the way to the left, it's for the minimum, basically a nano tank where you want to go slow, and all the way to the right is for the maximum, and this is if you have a really large tank. So you can kind of tune how fast the pump goes, and you might want to tweak that if your alarm goes off too easily, or if you have a really big tank, or if you use an accessory like for running a bigger pump type of thing. But yeah, some cool little extra features. Alright guys, there you have it, the Tunze Osmolator. Super easy install, probably one of the most reliable, well-known ATOs on the market. Definitely tried and true and pretty flexible. So yeah, happy I finally got one again. If you guys got any questions on it, as always, let me know in the comments below. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next update.